Whether you keep them in your home or love to see them in theirs, these are the creatures that bring us all together.
Reptiles. We're going to be delving into the experiences of reptile lovers from around the block and around the world. This is the Reptile Talk Podcast. Boom. What is up, everybody? This is Jeremy Turgeon from Brassman Reptiles.
And I'm Rob, and I'm creeping a reel.
Hey, and we're back to normal setting after a failed attempt at this video from the actual Tinley Park NARBC.
Well, I'm not with my usual recording equipment, so it's even a little. It's not completely normal, but it's closer to normal.
This is true, actually. Yeah, this is true. Rob is on vacation. What is that, Rob?
Like that. We're doing a little trip down to the beach. Like we basically did Daytona and spent a little bit of time on the beach, but Kristen got a really bad sunburn, so we didn't really get to spend a lot of time on the beach. So I had a 3-day weekend this weekend. So there's a really nice aquarium out here that we're going to go check out, and then there's a little spot where we're going to do a little bit of herping and then check out the beach that's out here. But it's crazy. We just did like a little walk on the beach earlier, and the amount of shells that were on the beach. Because at Daytona, there was none. There was no shells. And then this place is like every couple feet, there's like full shells. I'm like, oh,
dang, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Heck yeah, dude. Heck yeah. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying some free time. I don't know what that's like right now. So,
Kristen already found a reptile. We've been down here for 3 hours, and she already found a green knoll.
Perfect. I mean, I don't think any kind of getaway with you would be a true getaway if there wasn't some reptile element involved.
Yeah. She outhurt me, bro. She found it before I did.
Dang, getting owned, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh gosh. So what's up to everybody in the chat? I see there's a bunch of people that are watching this already. Please just do us a favor, share this video. I've been busy as heck, so I haven't had the chance to really promote as much as possible. But give it a thumbs up. Do that. Like that. Love that. Share it. Please. We appreciate you. And as always, if you guys are watching on YouTube and you feel so inclined to send us a super chat, of course, we'll highlight that and talk about whatever you might like to want to talk about. But yeah, so we missed you at Tinley. I got asked by many people where Rob was and why Rob wasn't there. And I felt like I should have wore a t-shirt that says, "No, Rob's not here. Don't ask." But no, we missed you, and there's a lot of people expecting you to be there at the next one. So
I've heard, I've gotten messages, so
I'm sure. But yeah, so dude, Tinley was Tinley was a freaking experience. I mean, okay, so I guess we'll preface by this. If you don't already know about the Tinley Park NARBC show, NARBC, if you don't know, stands for North American Reptile Breeders Conference. It's put on by Brian Potter, who we've had on the podcast already, and Bob Ashley, who's I would say more behind the scenes than Brian Potter is. But both wonderful guys. Tinley Park has an over 20-year history in the reptile industry, and I would encourage you all to go back a couple episodes and check out the episode we did with Brian Potter, so you can hear a little bit of that history and how NARBC got started and the impact that it's had on the industry for so long. I talked to Brian. So the live stream that I did from the show was on Sunday, and it was just as packed as Saturday, which was insane. Usually, if you're familiar with 2-day shows, if you have 2-day shows in your area, usually Sunday is a pretty chill day for the most part. And Tinley is typically no different. And this was insane. And I pulled Brian over and asked him, I was like, hey man, Tinley's got this 20-year history. It's survived this pandemic, this lockdown. We didn't have it for a couple times. And, I'm like, where does this show rank for you? And he said easily top 3 as far as numbers through the door and everything. And that's huge. It really is. I mean, dude, think about that. In 20 years, like, it's still crushing, man. Like, it's still just bumping. Like, what? That's so awesome. We raised over $150,000 at the US Arc auction. I think about 13 or 1400 of that went to US Arc Florida. There's about 12,000 that went to Tel Hicks. And then the rest of that went to US Arc. I think it was just over 140 something $1,000 to US Arc. And for me, that's one of the things that makes Tinley so special, is because that's really when you see the community come together in the biggest way every year to just throw down, and I will say shout out to Chad Brown for bidding on his now the most expensive Xbox in the world. $20,000 for that Xbox. Yeah, it was great. He just kept outbidding himself. It was wonderful. And but when you get these people in the room that really understand the importance of US Arc, that's the kind of stuff that happens. That's the kind of magic that happens. And it was truly something to behold. So I'm for those of you are listening to the audio only, I'm pulling up my phone so that I have picture references, because I may have consumed a large amount of alcohol. So I don't necessarily remember everything that happened. Primarily, like, from auction on is a little blurry, but I have plenty of pictures to reference and bring back some of those faded memories. But yeah,
dude, from what it looks, this one Sunday was absolutely jumping, and yeah, I heard Brian say that it was top three of all the Tinleys that they put on. This one was top three for the last 20 years, which is incredible too.
Yeah, man. I mean, imagine that 20 years of doing that show, and this one was like top three. It's like, damn.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And there were some vendors there that had some really great cash flow come in. There was a lot of really high end new projects brought to the table. Shout out to, of course, the ball python guys, Justin Kabelka, for always bringing cool stuff. Bavu had some killer animals on the table. One of them I highlighted with the social media crew from Reach Out Reptiles with Garrett. I think he was a spot-nosed leopard Enchi DG clown or something like that. And it was insane looking. Yeah, freaking nuts. Also captive bred specialties. I'm drawing a blank. Brock Wagner, excuse me, and Winston and Brad Boa. All those guys had insane fire, some cool stuff with the Sunset Project, which for me as a ball python guy, the Sunset Project really never caught my attention all that much. I thought it was a cool gene, but didn't really do anything for me. Some of those guys brought some stuff that made me raise an eyebrow or two. And I was like, okay, now I see where the possibilities kind of lie with this project. So that was cool to see. Shout out to our friend Aubrey for having some of the baddest retics in the building. It was a pleasure to see. He had one of the pecans with him. Yeah, buddy. Literally the only pecan in the building, and a bunch of ocelot stuff. And he was showing me some of the other ocelot stuff that has started hatching over there, some of that phantom ocelot stuff. And he's been posting a bunch of that stuff as of late. And let me tell you, the pictures are insane. In person, ridiculous, like next level. Whatever the pictures look like, times it by 10. That's basically what you're getting, which is nuts to think about. Like, holy crap.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible looking.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you and I, we've been lucky enough to see the ocelot stuff in person, being at Nerd and stuff. And I mean, we've seen some of Aubrey's things, and wow, like, if you're getting into retics and you want to work with like mainland stuff and you want to have like a solid future breeding retics of any kind of project, like that's the project you want in on, because there's nothing else going to make things like that. And the sheer polymorphism of the ocelot gene, you know, you get these animals look like rainbow boas, and you get these animals that are just totally striped out. It's nuts, you know. So I think there's so much potential with that project. So shout out to Aubrey for all of that success with that project, and like I said, for just having the baddest retics in the building, hands down. It was so Tinley, I think, and I think you'll agree with this too, Rob, is you know, certainly massive reptile show, but also like giant family reunion.
Hell yeah.
It's where so many people that would never really ever see each other come together. You know, again, for those of you who aren't necessarily sure where Tinley Park is, it basically Chicago. Think Chicago. So literally the middle of the United States, well, the mid-north part of the United States. So people from the East Coast and the West Coast are showing up, you know, because it is kind of the middle. So that provides a really unique opportunity, you know, in comparison to like a show like Daytona, where it's all in the Southeast, you know, so anybody coming from Cali, I mean, that's a long haul. So it's great to, of course, see all the awesome animals. People are doing unveilings of new projects, but it's also just great to see people. And I think this show, for me, offered a lot of those opportunities that I can't say that I've like forgotten, because you never really forget the Tinley experience. You just forget parts of it. But but you never really forget that Tinley experience. But I feel like every year there's some extra special element to each Tinley, whether it be like getting to hang out with somebody you didn't get to hang out at the last one, or meeting somebody that hadn't been to one in a few years. And I had a couple of those moments. But one of the ones that stood out to me, Rob, I don't know if you remember them, because you're not the biggest ball python guy. But do you remember the Sloan brothers? Like, this would be like a throwback to like maybe 15 or so, maybe more years ago.
I don't know if I remember.
Yeah. So I used to be fairly tight with them over social media years ago when we were kids. And, you know, as time went on, we just kind of generally lost touch. And maybe like, I want to say a little less than a year ago, maybe even 6 months ago, I found their account on Instagram, and I was like, oh man, could that really be them? You know, like I wonder. And sure as shit, it was. And Nick was coming to Tinley, and I was like, oh my God, dude, like what? Like we've known each other for all this time and like never really ever met, you know? So like, I'm stoked. That was just a cool moment to me, because it's somebody who's, you know, our age, really, you know, who, as far as ball pythons go, like massive trendsetters from back in the day, and younger guys. And it was cool to get the chance to meet him and chat with him. It was fairly brief, just because he just had a baby, and his wife and baby were at the show, and they had some other things to do. So it was fairly brief, but that to me was a really cool moment for sure.
Hell yeah.
And always lots of laughs and shenanigans at Tinley. I'm looking at this picture right now, and I'll show it. I'll show it on the computer. For those who are listening, you'll have to check out my Facebook page, because I posted this. But Rob, I'll see if you recognize one of these shoes. Oh, let's see if I can get this to focus.
Oh damn! What?
So that shoe, oops, right there, that's the
Yeah.
Chad Holker shoe.
Oh, I could tell.
So it was great to see Chad and Steve from Steve's Morse Both of them, they were next to each other, so it was just cool. They're like looking at each other's shoes, and they're like, "Oh, we got to get a picture of this." So I just like sneaked my phone over the table and was like, "This is great." So I posted that photo, and I just said it was great to see Steve and Chad. I don't think I got pictures. Well, no, I did get pictures of them, but not on my phone. It was on their phones. But yeah, that was quite interesting for sure. There's we say something.
Oh, I was just say that I was going through some old pictures yesterday, and I found a picture of me and Kathy Love from the first time that I went to Tinley, and it was so weird because like we're friends on social media. I don't ever like think about that, and I was like, oh damn, it's still Kathy Love over there, and she was like, oh hey Rob, and I was like, what?
Dude, okay. So literally perfect segue. So I had two of those moments that weekend, and I posted about it because it just kind of it blew me away. Same ordeal. Knew these two guys on social media. I'd done business with one of them, talked with the other one briefly, but never met them. Didn't really know them. It was always just very quick, casual conversation. And that was Mike Wilbanks
Oh hell yeah,
and Mark Bailey.
yeah.
And I went to introduce myself to Mark at the bar, and I was like, Mark, just want to introduce myself. Really love what you've done with ball pythons. Blah blah blah. I'm so and so. He's like, yeah, I know who you are. How's Kevin? And I was like, heck yeah, man. Like that's cool. And then saw Will Banks. I think it was the next day, or maybe it was even earlier that day. Again, timeline's a little skewed. But saw Mike walking past me, and I stopped him, and I was like, "Hey, man, like we've talked a couple times with Kevin on the phone." Oh yeah, Jeremy, yeah, how's it going, man? And I was just like, man, that's just cool, man. Like to me, that just kind of geeked me out. Like you and I have been in this a while, and we've been really lucky to meet a lot of the OGs and pioneers over the years. But when it comes to somebody that like you've never met outside of social media, and then like they recognize you,
Mhm.
like man, you're like, I've read your books. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is so crazy. We had that moment with Ron St. Pierre at Daytona. Like, it was crazy. And he was also at Tinley, which shocked the heck out of me.
Mhm.
That Hurricane Ian had just, been through Florida just before.
Yeah.
And luckily he avoided a fair bit of damage, which was good, but he still said it was brutal. It was certainly not kind, as we're all aware.
Yeah.
But yeah, like those moments, dude, there's just something about that, man. And then there's also the element of like, who's that old guy that said sorry guys, but who's that old guy that like just came up to you, and why are you like geeking out about it? Just for those people who just don't know, you know
Mhm.
and it's like, man, you have no idea why I'm geeking out. Like, yeah.
Yeah, when Greg Maxwell followed me on Instagram, he just got an Instagram, and I was like, "Bro, are you kidding me right now?"
Yeah. Yeah, I got to meet Greg. It was very brief, but I got to meet.
Really?
Yeah, he was there. I was like, it was
Ooh.
literally just a hi and bye thing. It wasn't anything real. Like I didn't officially introduce myself like I would have liked to have, but man, that was cool. It was cool. It was also great to see guys like Gary Shavino and Bill Stiegel and Marshall Mendez. It was great to see those guys again, and talk a little bit. Uh, Bill and I happened to be staying at the same hotel. So Saturday night, after we were all leaving the bar, he was like, "Hey, you're at the Hampton Inn, right?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Me too. I need a ride." I was like, "I got you, bro. I got you." Um, but yeah, it was cool. There was a lot of time for hangs. I was able to have some, I'll say, in-depth conversations with some folks, partly through intoxication, but that I necessarily wouldn't have normally spoken to, I'm glad that I did, if that makes sense. Like, I still remember having those conversations, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm glad that talk happened, and I'm glad what was said, and I'm glad that there can be like motion past that. So yeah. So, and I think there was a couple conversations I'll have to fill you in on, because I'm sure you're aware of one in particular, but yeah, so that was cool, just from like personal standpoint. Like, that was cool. Got to geek out over Nick Mutton's book yet again, because that was on the tables. And certainly utilized it being at the tables to drag people over to it and be like, look, that's my picture. I'm in that book. Am I cool yet?
Jeremy's like, I took the liberties and signed every single book over my picture.
Exactly. Well, then it was funny because I forgot who it was behind the table. We were talking, because I'm like, man, you'd think I sent this man some pictures. You'd think I could get a free copy of the book. And they were like, no, that's why he asked you for pictures, so you'd buy the book.
Yep.
Yes, Taylor was 100% subjected to that. As we saw the book, I'm like, oh, I got pictures in that book, man. For me, that's another one. Like, I've known Nick for a long time over social media, and I've been lucky enough to meet him a couple of times when he's come over to the East Coast. But coming up, being the Morelia geek, like, Nick was the almighty carpet guy, So for me, that's just super cool to be able to be like, hey, man, I know this guy now, but I know him well enough that he reached out to me and asked me for pictures that are now in his book. The only other time that's ever happened was with Stefan Broghammer from Germany, when he was doing the ball python book out there. I sent him pictures of things back in the day. So I've been in a couple books here and there, just saying the little books, but yeah, it's just a cool feeling, man. Like, come on, tell me when you were friggin' 15 years old, if you could go back and tell yourself now, like, hey, you're gonna meet Kathy Love and she's gonna know who you are one day. You'd be like, dude, get the hell out of here, man. There's no way that's possible, and then it happens, and you're like, son of a bitch. Like, that's the coolest freaking moment ever. Like, hands down. And you're gonna talk about that shit forever.
Literally, Kevin, Kathy Love, Tom Crutchfield, like Ron St. Pierre. Come on now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, these are legends, and the crazy thing is, like, we talk about the industry now being so large, and versus back then. But the crazy thing is, man, there were a lot of people keeping reptiles. It just wasn't publicized as much as it is now. And there's guys like Hank Molt and like all these other people that, like, you don't ever hear about, you don't ever know unless you're in that circle, and then it's like, man, I got to meet that guy one day. Like, holy crap, so to have these moments is, dude, it's mind blowing. And it's so funny because these guys just are in some cases wandering around a show like Tinley, and you'd never know unless you'd never know. So Brian Barczyk was at Tinley on Saturday, which was a shock to a lot of people, but he's in partnership with Redline Shipping. So he came out to show his support to Robin Markland, and Lori was there, and both Jays were there, and Mike was there, and it was cool. And people were like, "Wait, what? Brian's here? What's going on? What's happening?" But it was cool to see him back in the show scene, and I overheard somebody asking Lori if she was enjoying the show, and she was like, yeah, this is great. We're not hide behind a table. We should have been doing this years ago.
For real.
I'm like, yeah, I get it. I get it. Tinley especially, I feels that show where it's like, man, you want to get up and walk around, but like, unless you have staff, you are stuck behind that booth, man. But yeah. So it was fun. Let's see. Okay, I'm referencing a couple more pictures here. This was a wonderful auction item courtesy of Ryan McVeigh. Well, I think there was one auctioned off, but Ryan was also selling them. I'm going to show this again in the screen, and sadly, you guys will have to look at it otherwise. I don't know if you can read that, Rob.
I can't now.
It says Saint Goss, and it's just a painted image of Phil on a candle.
Oh my God.
It was wonderful. Ryan came up to my table and put it on there, and I didn't know what was happening. Like, I didn't say anything. I was just like, this is impressive. And then he came and took it back, and I was just like, I don't know what's going on, but I like that. It was impressive. It was impressive. And in tandem with that, now we don't have to keep it under wraps because it's already happened. But after the Lacey Act amendments had gotten pulled from the America Competes Act, there was a big push by guys like Matt Edmonds and Mike Stefani and a handful of other people to get something together for Phil as just an appreciation for all of the work that he does. You know, I mean, I'm not, and I don't really envy his job whatsoever, you know, and the amount of work that he has to do. And, you know, we always tell him that we support him, and we've got his back, and Tinley's certainly a showcase of that. But we wanted to take an opportunity because, again, this is probably the third time we've had, you know, a run-in with Lacey Act amendments on the federal level, and it's been squashed, you know, and that's, you know, a testament to Phil's tenacity, you know, at doing his job. So a whole bunch of us got together. Matt had this wonderful plaque made that was basically just like the one word to describe Phil is tenacity. You know, he's tenacious. And I was just, I forgot what the official title was, like Human of the Year or something. But we did that. Mike Stefani put together these two massive shadow boxes that we filled with stickers from Reptile people all over the place. Reptile Talk was one of those stickers. Just to show all the people that are supporting him. And then there was a pour in of people with just thank you notes and cards and stuff like that. And you know, Phil being Phil was like, you know, I do this again even without all these accolades and whatever. And we're like, we know, and that's why we're doing this, like, because we love you and we appreciate you. So that was a special moment. I've got a video of that whole ordeal, and I'll post that at some point, probably in the next couple of days, just to push it. So shout out to Phil. We'll have him on the podcast again soon. And also in tandem with USARK stuff, USARK Florida reps were there. Elizabeth and Daniel Parker flew up from Florida. Again, not expecting that after literally just dealing with Hurricane Ian a few days before. But it was great to see both of them both in great spirits, even after everything that went on. And we're just out having a great time at Tinley. I filmed a quick thing with the Reach Out Reptiles guys with Daniel, and he was totally not expecting it. So it was even more perfect because he didn't know what the heck was going on. But shout out to you, Daniel, for being a team player. It came out really good. But yeah, we got our first super chat. Bionic Benny, it was great to see you at Tinley, bro. Rob's fun to go to Tinley or Animal Con so I can finally meet you. The only person on my list of famous reptile YouTubers to meet. Yeah.
Infinite.
Yeah, Benny made it very clear to me that he was highly upset you weren't there, Rob. So he was like, I was supposed to meet Rob and he's not here. And God.
I'm sorry.
That's what we'll get you a shirt for next October. That's like, I missed last year. Don't hate me. I'm here today. Yeah. Oh gosh. But yeah, Benny, it was great to see you, man. I hope you had a great time at the show. It was great to see people like Dave Kaufman and Brian Cusco. Been far too long since I've seen both of those guys.
Bummed that I missed Cusco.
What's that?
I said I'm so bummed that I missed Brian Cusco.
Listen, so
The dinosaur.
the dinosaur. Okay, so I need everybody to understand. If you follow me on my music Instagram, I posted a story about this because Reptile people really don't give a crap about microphones, but musicians do. So Brian was doing interviews for Triple B TV and stuff, and he the microphone was in the mouth of a dinosaur toy, and I saw him walking around, and I'm like, why does he have this? I didn't know there was a microphone in it at first. It's like, why is he just carrying around this freaking rubber dinosaur? Like, I don't get it. Is there a joke behind? Like, what is going on? Then he showed me it was a microphone, and I'm like, this is amazing. And when we went to do our interview, I could not handle having a T-Rex microphone put in my face, interview style. Like, it would be at his face and he would say something and ask a question and then hand it to me and hand it back. And I couldn't take it seriously. And he told me that it was like me and Vin Russo and maybe one other person that had any sort of like outward reaction towards it. And I was like, well, yeah, we're musicians, so I think that makes sense actually. But I'm like, and then I'm like, there's no way nobody else reacted to it. And then he like said something into it and handed it off to a random person, and they just talked into it like it was nothing. And I'm like, how are you not reacting to somebody shoving a T-Rex in your face, like very close to your face? Okay, that's okay. I don't know what else to say. It was very interesting, but it it was great to see Brian Cusco. There's some shenanigans. Of course, he sat at the table with myself and Rich Crowley and his wife, and a few other people, and we had a blast. And Dave Kaufman popped over. It's always fun to see Dave. And I have this very interesting 8-second video clip of Dave Kaufman wearing a giant piece of bubble wrap around his wrist, and he's just kind of hitting Brian Cusco in the shoulder with it very nonchalantly. It's just Tinley things. It was also really great to see Matt Edmonds. So so if you don't know Matt Edmonds, you've definitely never been to a Tinley. I love Matt to death. He has some of the most amazing energy. He's a go-getter, and when he puts his mind to something, it's happening. And like I said, he was one of the guys that was right on getting this stuff together for Phil. And it was just great to hang with him. He is a party animal, so just be prepared to get roped into something. But I absolutely love that about him. Rob's face. Every chance I get to see Matt is wonderful, and from what I remember, and it's that should tell you everything that you need to know right there. I have a wonderful video. I'll show Rob and anybody watching a very short snippet of it, but I realized we took this video until a couple days later. It's just us at the bar, just moving a lot. I don't know what's happening, trying to understand it. And then that guy got behind us, and I don't know what happened after that. But it that if that didn't sum up every experience with Matt Edmonds.
Saucy. That's the only word to describe that.
Yes. Yes. I also have so one of the things that was auctioned off was a RC, like a little RC truck, like for young kids or whatever. And Bob Vu won said RC truck. And then Sunday morning proceeded to drive inside the RC truck around to the aisle. And I just look, and like his legs are like hanging over the front of it. He's like slumped in it. I'm like, I don't know what's happening right now. I need coffee, but this is a great way to start the day. That's
You know what he should have done? He should have taped his phone to the front of it and then did a time lapse video of him driving around.
that would have been amazing, actually. I'm sad that didn't happen now.
I know what I'm doing next Tinley.
There you go. 100%. Plans are being made. Let's see. Who else was there? A bunch of the carpet guys were there. Casey Cannon, Clay Emerton, Billy Hunt, Jason Hood, a whole bunch of guys. It was great to see all of them and chat with all of them. And in fact, Casey shared a photo of, I think it was me. Let me see. I've got it right here. It's Billy Hunt, myself, Casey, and Clay from Tampa Snakes. And I don't know what's there are 4 very different things happening with each one. And he shared it, and he was like, "I think this is the best photo from any Tinley ever," and I will certainly agree.
Yeah, I saw that on Facebook.
Yeah, you know the exact one I'm talking about. It was fun for sure. Back to meeting people for the first time, though. There were 3 other people that I got the chance to meet. I'm literally scrolling through photos, so that's why it's coming back this way. 3 other people that I got to meet. One of them was Gavin from Balls to You in the UK.
Hell yeah.
And his lovely wife. Getting the chance to meet with them, talk with them. We went out to dinner. We had a great time. He is absolutely wonderful. And we definitely got to get him back on the podcast. He wants us to go to the UK and do some herping in the UK. Find some European adders.
Yeah, the European adders are kind of cool. I want to see some natural scenes. The European grass snakes, I like those.
Okay, so here's the thing. So he was like, yeah, he's like, we got like grass snakes and whatever, but we've got an adder. And I was like, I'm like, yeah, you guys have some cool stuff. I'm like, but I said, Gavin, here's what you need to realize, bro. We live in the US, so we're never going to see that unless we go there. So it would just be cool to go there, and do that. And simultaneously, we want to get some folks together and do a herp trip in the US and have him come here and hit a bunch of different parts. So I think that both of those things would be very cool. So I think I need to reach out to him, and maybe we can start a group chat and try to plan for that, for all of those things, for everything, just because. So that was one person. Well, technically 2 people because of his wife, who is absolutely wonderful as well. And then 2 people that I knew were going to be there, but I didn't know when I was going to run into them, and then was still very shocked when I finally ran into them, just because they're great people. But Austin and Jaffe from Mutation Creation, all the way up in Canada. They came down. Billy wasn't there because he's a bum, but but it was great to see both of them. Great to meet both of them, and it was another one of those moments where, Austin and Jaffe both used to watch my old YouTube content back in the day. They both know Lenny and used to watch Lenny's content back in the day. They didn't know that I knew Lenny as well as I do, and that I live with him. So it's like, yeah, dude, we're all so much more connected than you're aware. But it was great to meet them and hang with them. Super wonderful, super nice. We got the invite to go to Canada. So that's, I think, Rob, we might need to do some traveling soon, my friend.
Well, I was listening to NPR, and they were talking to Nipper Reed and International Snake Day over there. He was talking about that expo, and they have 3 different halls, and one of them is just a venomous hall. And he said there was like between 60 and 100 vendors there with venomous snakes, and I'm like, bro,
oh man,
I'd lose my mind. I just spend all day just staring at stuff.
Right? Exactly, dude. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that would be amazing. Sheesh. Yeah, that would be that would be epic as hell. Holy crap.
I'd be bummed because I know that there's no way I'd be able to import or get some of that stuff back into the US.
Of course.
But I bet you
there's part of it all. Yeah, it's the worst part of it all is like seeing it and then realizing like, I will never see it again. So, let's see, seeing other fun people. It was great to see and hang out with Rich Crowley. Um,
I love
Dan,
Rich.
oh yeah, Rich is great. Dan Magano was there. It's always fun to see Dan. It was cool to see. I popped over to his table briefly during the live stream there. Good to see Elijah and see some of his insane freaking blood pythons.
How about that pie?
It was really cool to see that pied in person. Seeing the pictures, it's a very different animal seeing it in pictures versus seeing it in real life, and how those colors have worked, and especially now that they've aged a bit, some of those other colors are starting to come in, and certainly far from red, but wow, just a really, really pretty snake. And I'm certainly excited to see what Elijah is going to do with it, but also just excited to see what all the other people are going to do with it that have in on that project. So that was great. It was great to see one of our biggest supporters of the podcast, Mike Stefani.
Hell yeah.
It was so great to see him and talk with him. And I've got a picture of myself with him and Robin Markland from Redline. And it was just great to see him and chat with him. And he was another one who was like, "Where's Rob?" But yeah, certainly good to see them. And then I saw a comment I just want to highlight just because I did see Joe there. Scottish Rob asked if I saw the NFI albino boas at JPC's table. And yes, I 100% did. I've known Joe for a long time. The NFI project, I've seen it, not from its inception, but I saw it while he was figuring it out. It's a very, very cool project, and the history behind that. I think Jeff Ronnie at the Boa File helped him make the description and really break down everything on it. It is a cool animal for sure. With Joe was also our friend Adam Harris. It was great to see Adam. So Adam, I ran into him the last time I was up in New Hampshire this past time. The New Hampshire Reptile Show was going on. So I popped over to see folks because I haven't been up there in a while. And Adam shaved his goatee. And yes, I did not recognize that. I walked past his table probably about 20 times. And I'm like, I know he's here. He's always here. And I finally saw him at his table. And I was like, "You're not Adam. You're someone else who sounds like Adam." But it was, I was just like, "Dude, I didn't recognize you." And I walked your table like 100 times already, man. You got to give us a memo that you've changed your appearance. Some of us can't handle change that well. But yeah, it was a phenomenal show. I've gone way over time here, so we're going to take a break and run our sponsor ad, Black Box Cages. So we'll be back in just a couple minutes, guys. Black Box Cages, located in Buford, Georgia, is your one-stop shop for all of your caging and rack needs. Owners Jen and Clint are at the helm of this fantastic company. With one of the shortest lead times in cage and rack manufacturing, Black Box can satisfy anyone's needs. From baby racks to V70s, arboreal and terrestrial caging to deep-fronted bioactive enclosures. You can find everything you need right here. New enclosure sizes and products are added frequently to their availability, so be sure to check back often. Black Box Cages have tons of customizing options for lighting and heating. Along with that, cages and racks can be stacked with metal stacking dowels, and all cage joints are dadoed for improved durability and stability. Most cage units are flat-packed, but are pre-assembled prior to shipping to ensure a solid build every time. The Micro, XC18, XT3, Bio-G, and 3-stack V70 ship assembled, and all other racks are shipped freight and assembled. The XR16 and XR20 model racks allow keepers to mix and match tubs. Fitting both Vision and Freedom Breeder tubs, you can mix the V15, V18, and V35S tubs, or the FB5, FB8, and FB35CV SC tubs.
This kind of flexibility allows keepers to raise their animals from hatchling to juvenile or subadult size before needing to upgrade into adult caging. Don't just take our word for it. Go to their website to see countless customer reviews and review videos from keepers all over. To learn more about Black Box Cages, follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Black Box Cages, and of course their website, www.blackboxcages.com. Links to their socials and website will be available in the podcast description.
Bam! You guys, that was smooth, Rob. You guys already know the deal. Go check out Black Box Cages. Get yourself a cool cage and check out everything they've got going on. They're always updating stuff. They've got newer stuff, newer products and options, cage options on their website. So go check them out. All of the links are in the description of both this video, and if you're listening to audio only, then on the audio only version as well. And yeah, go tell them we sent you. It ain't changing nothing, but tell them we sent you. No, but we love you guys down at Black Box. At some point, I still need to get down there to film a video for YouTube at their place, because I want you guys to see they've been our year-long sponsor, and we're incredibly grateful to them. And we want you guys to see what you're getting when you buy an enclosure from them. It's a wonderful family-run company, and they absolutely crush it. So in the very near future, we'll be highlighting them in a YouTube video. So stay tuned for that. So before I continue with Tinley shenanigans, I just want to give a birthday shout out to our friend Kevin McCurley, the evil morph god at Nerd. It's his 1000th birthday today, and I would encourage you all, if you have not already, go to his Instagram and see the wonderful cake that has been made for him by his friends, courtesy of Mikey at Ants Canada. It is absolutely wonderful, and yes, I will leave it at that. I will not spoil that surprise if you have not seen that photo already. He has posted it. I just saw that Mikey just posted about it, so go check that out. That's why I'm talking about it. So yeah, so shout out to you, Kevin. Love you, dude. I hope you have a great day. I spoke to him earlier, and he was like, it sounds like you're at a reptile show. And I was like, I am. And he was like, why do you keep doing that to yourself? I was like, hey, Mr. Doom and Gloom, I'm not calling you for this. I'm calling you to say happy birthday. But yeah, so go wish Kevin a happy birthday on his most recent Instagram post. I know he's been getting blown up from people all over the place, so he does appreciate it.
Big shout out to Kevin. Big happy birthday, man.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoy it.
Heck yeah. I'll make sure we all any wishes that come through here, I'll make sure that everybody wished him a happy 1000th birthday, and many more to come. What is up? I hope your day at Charlotte Repticon went well. Look forward to the Carolina Herp Society event. Remember to hit that like, y'all. Yes, hit that like. Hit that like button. Do it, please. We appreciate it. And also, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, leave us a review. Leave us a review and a comment. We would love to hear from you guys. We used to ask you that all the time, and we haven't asked you in a while. But please feel free to do so. We've got quite a few, actually, and we love all the support from you guys. So again, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, feel free to leave us a rating and a comment. If you don't like this, then don't say shit. But if you love us, type all that you want. Yeah, the Charlotte Repticon is this weekend. So obviously I'm home right now because Charlotte's not very far away, which is nice, thank God. But yeah, having a great time there. Great to see some local people because I've been away for so long. So it's just great to see folks and hang with folks. It's a little bit of a slow show, but yeah, that's oh, I guess I'm going to highlight this. So Tim spilled the beans here, but so what Speedo birthday cake Kevin posted. So the guy in the Speedo is Mikey Bustos from Ants Canada, and Kevin loves Ants Canada. When we were there, he would always talk about it, and we're like, Ants Canada, what are you talking about, dude? I've since checked out some of their videos, and Mikey is very good at what he does. I will tell you that, and his content creating is second to none, really. But he is also a fitness guru, actor, musician, like all this stuff. He does parody music videos and things, and he did a parody video to the Justin Bieber song Despacito, and the parody is called I Wear Speedos, which is amazing. I think it got like a few million views. It's quite entertaining. But so Kevin really likes Mikey. They got the chance to meet at Animal Con, and some of his friends reached out to Mikey and were like, we want to, we're going to see Kevin on his birthday. We want to phone. Can we borrow a photo of you in a Speedo to put on a cake? And that is exactly what happened. A little glimpse into the reptile industry humor. But yeah, so go check that out if you want to see what that looks like. If you don't want to see what that looks like, feel free to not look. But Mikey's not a bad looking guy for anybody that's like, oh, that's horrible. He's not a bad looking guy. So
it's pretty funny. It's definitely not Snake and the Fat Man in a Speedo.
Yeah. It's not Chris Eaton Speedo, thank God. Oh man, that would be something. Yeah. I would love to get Mikey on the podcast at some point. Maybe I think that would be interesting for any people out there who also like insects. He's incredibly knowledgeable about the ants that he works with, and a lot of how that stuff works. And I'd be lying if I told you I wasn't watching his videos periodically, because every once in a while I see one pop up and I'm like, I want to know what he has to say. And they're quite interesting. So I think, and I talk to him from time to time, so it would be cool to maybe get him on an episode. But okay, back to Tinley insanity. So here's the thing, guys. If you're going to go to Tinley, there's one way to go to Tinley, and that is by accessing it with a VIP pass. And here is why.
It's the only way to go.
It's the only way. It's the only way. So the VIP pass gets you in on Friday during vendor setup. It also gets you in early on Saturday before general admission, which is great. So usually the way I go about the day, and Rob, you can tell me how you do it, because I've been talking for this entire hour. And but basically Friday, I take that time to pop in quickly, see some folks, and I usually just kind of scout where people are gonna be, like where their table setups are and everything. And then if people set up quickly, then I go hang and I'll talk, and I'll usually stay for most of that time on Friday to start getting first glimpses of stuff as it's coming out onto the table. Saturday, if I'm going to buy anything Saturday morning, I now know exactly where I got to go, so I can make the beelines, and, or if there's somebody I wanted to see that was like unpacked and got the heck out, then I'll go see them early on Saturday. And this year, VIP opened at 7:30 a.m. instead of the usual 9 a.m. Yeah, there were a lot of people that had VIP passes, which is amazing. But that is the way to do Tinley. So is that pretty much the same for you, Rob, the way you kind of handle those first 2 days?
Yeah, you got to. For Friday, basically just like hang out and talk to people, kind of scout out where everybody's hanging out at. And then Saturday, like I try and get in early and then like really hit the tables that if people weren't set up or finished by the time that I was there the day before. I try and hit all the things that I think might have what I'm looking for, or stuff that I wanted to see while I'm at the expo. And then, on Sundays, Sunday's usually the casual day, but this year it looked like it was not very casual.
It was not very casual, dude. It's still mind-boggling to me that Sunday was that busy. Yeah, sheesh. It was really crazy cool to see that. It was it was also cool to see Like I made mention to earlier, there were quite a good amount of vendors that had very successful shows financially, which is always good to see. Obviously it's an expo. As much as we love hanging out, vendors are coming to sell animals and make money. That's what the business is about. And, nobody likes going to a show as a vendor and not making any money. Sometimes it happens. It is what it is. But it was really good to see some folks, especially folks who deserve it. They've been putting in that sweat equity. So it was really good to see some of those guys get some of what they deserve, in a good way. Like, again, guys like Bob Food that, just totally crushed that weekend. It was really, really great to see. And it was impressive. It was certainly impressive to see. And a lot of us have been talking, like state of the economy and blah, 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 and sales are going to slow down a little bit. Tinley was not a representation of that at all, in my opinion, from what I gathered from most vendors, and that was certainly reassuring, because I think without going into all the nonsensical stuff about the economy, seeing people go from talking about, the economic downturn is kind of going to be a player in, sales and how well or not well they are, to seeing people literally dishing out tens of thousands of dollars at the drop of a hat without an attempted negotiation. I think maybe flipped a switch for a lot of people where they were like, hey, you know what? It's not going to be as bad as it was in 2008, 2009. We were basically sitting on animals we had available for over a year. And that was quite frustrating. So I think that was a good thing to see. And again, just happy that it was happening with some of the good guys out there that are really just out there grinding, doing their thing, and putting in the work. It's nice when your hard work pays off, for sure. Speaking of hard work paying off, Rob, how are baby scrub pythons? This is a little deviation, but I'm very curious to know.
They're doing good so far, honestly. They've been just chilling. I had one of them shed, one of the twins shed first before all the rest of them, and I'm just waiting on the rest of them to have their first sheds. And one of them ate. I'm trying a couple different types of food items just to see what they're interested in. But it's funny because when I posted pictures of baby scrubs, like I had posted a picture of like all of them when they came out, when they had all hatched, and I picked up a big ball of them, and they're all crawling all over my arms, and people are like, "Wow, you're not bleeding. They're not biting the crap out of you." And I'm like, "These are Janet's babies. These are like prophetic offspring. These are not your regular scrub pythons." And like, I had the first one that hatched out of the egg when I opened up the tub to when they were still in the nest tub or whatever, the incubation tub. The first one that hatched, when I first opened the top, it struck at me once. Since then, none of them have struck at me or looked at me sideways or tense up or anything. They're all just super, super chill.
That is amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. And I know you're spoiling the crap out of them. It's all, I love seeing you post pictures of them and little video clips and stuff. So dude, you're gonna have a group of Janets, and I think that's freaking phenomenal.
Yeah, and I've only had 85 people message me about trying to buy one.
Only 85. I would have expected you to be in the triple digits by now.
I got 150 people who tried to add me on Facebook after I posted pictures.
Of course. Yeah, that's how it happens. That's how it happens. Christina, is it
because he also detached his third clutch of Barnett.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I got to talk. It was good to see him and Dez at Tinley as well. I got the chance to talk with them. Their whole area was very, very swamped all weekend. So I didn't get to spend as much time with them as I wanted to, but it was still good to see them and chat with them a bit. And yeah, Steve was telling me about what's going on scrub wise over there, and there's some exciting stuff. And Rob, we definitely got to get you to Indiana and see that. Yeah, you got to see that stuff. But shout out to Christina. Is it best to buy early via VIP or wait for Sunday deals? As for purchasing, I assume you can wait for Sunday deals, but there's not always deals happening. Yeah, there's not always deals happening. It's Tinley is definitely one of those places where it's not I mean, I'll just blatantly say it. It's not a Repticon. These people that are vending Tinley Park are vendors that they're making money. You know, this is what they do. So they're not in a rush to liquidate or move things. And most of those guys are not slashing prices on a Sunday. You know, they're not really doing any kind of deals. You get a couple guys that do, but like the stuff that you would be like, you know, I really want that, but let me see if I can get it. Just get it. Just get it. Because it's going to be.
Also, people buy things. Like, literally, I remember walking around Tinley, and there was a couple things that I was, like, staring at, and I was like, man, I kind of want to get that. And I waited too long, and literally I walked one more round around the expo, come back, and it's sold, and I was like, crap. Like,
yeah. It's if you want it, exactly. Yes. If you want it, buy it immediately, you know, and because you know what, at those times, especially if you're in on Friday or early Saturday, you know, you get that time before the chaos of general admission is there. Hey man, you know, could you do any better on the price? You know, before it gets super hectic, you know, it's honestly better to do it that way. Because Sunday, especially with how this Sunday was, it was chaotic. There's no early admittance on Sunday. Everybody gets in at the same time on Sunday. So, being able to get that first dibs essentially on stuff is really key, you know. But Sunday is, in some instances, total chaos, and then a lot of those guys are leaving and driving back home Sunday night or like very early Monday morning. So they want to break down and either hit the road or go to sleep before they have, you know, anywhere from a 6 to 15 plus hour drive, you know, back to wherever they came from. So Sunday is not the best day. You know, if
some people will be willing to work with you if they didn't sell as much as they wanted to, but I don't like banking on them not selling enough, because sometimes people do, and they're just like, you know what, I don't like it.
Yeah, exactly. There are definitely some guys that are like, yeah, you know what, I made what I needed to make, and that's it. That's it. They don't care about making that extra, you know, $1,000 or whatever. You know, it doesn't mean as much. You're on the hunt for rhinos, rhino rat snakes, rhino iguanas, actual rhinos. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some folks. I would hit up either Rob or I, because I'm sure we know some folks that are in those veins producing some of that stuff.
That's right. Yeah. Check out Terry Burwell. I think he's producing some this year.
Terry Burwell?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so also just kind of wrapping things up as we come towards the end. Great to see Phil. You know, US Arc was right up front, right in the main space. Redline Shipping, it was great to see Robin Markland was right up there in the main space. It was just great to see all those guys. And like I said, we'll have Phil on soon. I leave on Monday for a few weeks, so it'll once again likely be a couple of weeks before we get another episode to you guys. But I'm around for most of the month of November, believe it or not. So hopefully we can get a large amount of recordings done, and we can kind of catch ourselves up. I think we're on the push now. This is episode 96. I accidentally marked it as 95 when I made the episode, but 95 was the season recap and stuff. So this is officially 96. We are 4 away from the big 100. And dude, that seems crazy, man. 100 episodes.
Hell yeah.
100 episodes. On that topic, I want to give a shout out to Bill Strand from the Chameleon Academy podcast and the Reptile Entrepreneur podcast. He and I did a podcast episode talking about podcasting versus YouTube and the pros and cons of doing each and potentially doing both. And he and I are going to be doing another podcast on the 23rd, a live stream podcast. Talking about live streaming a podcast, because it is another element of doing what we do. The first one that we did was pre-recorded. And he is very much into podcasting, and it was actually really great getting to talk to him. I met him at Animal Con, and he had some cool insight as far as different software that we could use that could help video quality and stuff like that. So I'm excited to learn more from him and excited to do this. So check out the Reptile Entrepreneur podcast. Find them on Instagram and all that stuff. Bill is a fantastic person and a chameleon wealth of knowledge. He really is a good guy. So go check him out. Go check those podcasts out. And that is about that. So Rob, as we close, what, sir, in the realm of reptiles has you excited about reptiles right now?
Steven Cush's Barnax, man, 3 clutches, 2022. He's killing it, man. I'm just like super pumped, really proud of him. That's like incredible. And just seeing more captured red scrubs is just the best. And then every time that someone messages me and is like, "Hey, you're Barnax," I'm like, "Go talk to Steven, please."
Yeah, talk to Steven.
He produced way more than me. I've been waiting for 10 years for these 10 babies.
Yeah.
Go talk to him.
One baby for every year of waiting. Yeah. Oh gosh.
Yeah. But I've just been super hyped about his clutches, doing the stuff that he's doing, and a big shout out to him. He's incredibly accomplished for how young he is. He's incredibly accomplished, period, but just it compounds because of how young he is.
For sure.
So big shout to Steve Chris. All stuff he's doing. What about you? What do you got you hyped about reptiles right now?
Reptiles. Two things. So one, just going back to meeting certain people at Tinley that knew who I was, that I didn't knew who I was. That was just kind of like, it gave me the warm fuzzies, because I was like, oh, it means I'm doing good things. That's a selfish one. Number two is I'm not trying to overwork myself, but I'm geeking myself up for the upcoming breeding season, and really putting some size on the Amazon tree boas, because this coming season is going to be the year I really do the push on the Amazons. So I'm kind of geeked about that, and seeing what's potentially available. Yeah. So those are the two things for me.
Bro, did you see the bicolor that Brittany? Oh man, I'm gonna butcher her last name. Portanti or Brittany T produced it. This bicolor that is the nicest bicolor I've seen since Skittles, which is from one of my friends.
Please send me that. I don't think I saw that.
It is on Facebook. It is absolutely immaculate. Like, nicest bicolor, period.
Wait, is that the one that was like silver and red, or when it hatched, and now it's just like a really crazy looking bicolor? Like, were there baby photos in the post?
It was she had a litter of babies, and it's a baby that was born in that litter, and it is just like, it's a brand new baby, but it is like,
okay,
an incredible bicolor. It's amazing, absolutely amazing.
Okay, then yeah, I missed that. Please tag me in that if you can find it. Tag me in that, because I missed it. Yeah, I who the heck is that guy? The guy in Canada that had those crazy colored leopard like Amazon a while back. Those are the ones I've been staring at a lot. Yeah, Amazon tree boas, guys. That's where it's at.
Oh, yeah.
But all right, Rob, if people want to find out more about you and what you're doing and where you are when you're not at Tinley, where can they go to find you?
TikTok at Robbie's Keeping It Real, and Instagram Robbie's Keeping It Real. That's it.
Bam.
What about you?
Bam. Everywhere, just everywhere, because I dislike living. No, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Vero. I joined Vero to see what the heck that was as far as a social platform, and I don't understand it. But if you're on it and you want to follow me, figure it out. It's all at Brassman. at Brassman Reptiles. TikTok there too. Let me do a quick scroll through Appland and see. I think that's it. So, and of course, YouTube for sure at Brassman Reptiles. Yeah, check it out. Yeah, that's it. Figure out what's going on, where I'm at, and for anybody, James Hill has already followed me on Vero. Thank you very much, James. That's amazing. Wow, and is already liking photos. You are a monster, my friend. But yeah, so that's it. And you can go like my 3 photos on Vero. And for anybody that cares and wants to know what's happening musically, the next 2 weeks I'll be away for music stuff. You can check out my my Twitter, or sorry, not my Twitter, my Instagram. Well, Twitter too, at JTMusic1092. I'll be posting updates. I'm doing a few shows and some studio work and some teachings. I'll be posting a bunch of stuff on there. Thank God for Tinley, so I have reptile content to post for those 2 weeks while I'm away. So, but that's that, guys. We will catch you on the next episode, and yeah, that's it. We'll catch you next time.